floors, footsteps echo through the villa. Velvet on the drapes, chrome handles on the Skrilla. Ghost in the driveway, tent darker than a secret. The grill splash once, whole room going speechless. Nights been sleepless, they're throwing shit together like a genius. The blade was steady cutting up the block to feed the demons. Got many reasons why I feed the fiendish every season. Treat the tech like a salt shaker, leave the street season. I'm a cut product, no additives in the mixture. A brick of peer troops sitting heavy in the picture. Most of these cats airbrushed, painted for the camera. I'm brushed on the steel, scars baked into the character. Fur collar hanging off the shoulder like a king cake. Old money habits, new money in the briefcase. Cigar smoke curling through the chandelier crystals. Every move has been deliberate, never accidental. Realest fingerprints left behind on the evidence. Realest cracked knuckles, earthy fades and experience. Raw like the ocean when the hurricane's spinning. No filters on the water, just survival and ambition. It's the real raw nut cut special. Change the channel if you can't fuck with my level. I keep the block hot enough to twist every metal. The shit I spit is cold enough to scare off the devil. They said don't be a menace, but I'm not in South Central. The boys from my hood moving on presidential. The all black master match the gad and the Hellcat. Keep a fat stack for when my shorty go mental.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Real Raw Uncut Podcast. I'm your host, Rels. Before we get started, make sure you guys go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel 2920 Network. Make sure you guys go subscribe to that. And welcome my guest this week, hip-hop artist out of Norfolk, Va, Lefty Pachino. What's going on, bro?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for being my guest. I appreciate that.
No doubt. It's an honor, man. No doubt. Yeah.
Shout out to from Shane from Cigar Talk for setting this up for me too. Real cool dude, man.
Okay.
Shout out to him.
Can't say enough about him, you know.
That's a fact. So let's start from the beginning, man. When did you develop your first love for hip hop?
You know, coming up, we always listen to, you know, whatever we listen to, you know what I mean? But I would say, man, probably around my high school, you know what I'm saying? High school years, you know what I mean? Just being a teenager and my family bringing home albums, and most of my family was in New York. Some was in Jersey, some was down here. So I was able to listen to a variety of music, you know, if that sound right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Then what was the first song that you could remember that caught your eye?
Definitely, it had to be Run DMC, the Raising Hell, the Raising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my cousin brought that record home, and that probably was, you know, the first time that I heard decent rap, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we were listening to a bunch of down south music, and that was probably my first record that I heard from up north. So, yeah.
So at that time, when you first heard that Run DMC album, what was the climate like down there in VA as far as hip hop music compared to that Run DMC album you heard?
Man, it was like mixtape, you know what I mean? It wasn't really like one particular musician. It was the college, you know what I'm saying? And then it was mixtapes. It was clue tapes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from that era, you know what I mean? Where the mixtapes were circulating. So yeah, I was accustomed to a lot of mixtape things, you know what I mean? But as far as a big mainstream group, I would have to say that probably was the first record that I heard, that and the Beastie Boys, you know what I'm saying? So I'm from back on that cloth, right?
Yeah, that's old school at its best right there.
Oh yeah.
Is it okay? So maybe you can help me out here, because Virginia is considered the South in terms of music as compared to, like, you know, Run DMCs and the LL Cool J's. Now, how, like, when you hear music from the North, right? How long does it take before you decide, like, if your cousins was bringing you music from the North and you was listening to it, how long did it take before it reached the airwaves in Virginia?
It was immediately. We heard everything. Okay. We had radio stations. Yeah, we had, and then you got to remember, Norfolk is a melting pot. Like, it's probably more New Yorkers in Norfolk than it is people from Norfolk. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we were always getting it. But like I said, I was at that particular time, I was very young. But once I got up in age, then I started to be able to maneuver around, and then I could go and pick up, BDP or whatever records I wanted to hear, or Cool G Rap, and then when I started driving, I was really able to go to the record stores and get what caught my ear. You know what I'm saying? Because I never was attracted to the down south music. You know what I'm saying? It never caught my attention, and it's probably because my household, they didn't play that in my household. They always, like I said, New York, where my uncles came from. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we listened to.
I kind of agree with what you said there, because the 2 tracks that you sent me the other day, like fire tracks, by the way, fire tracks, and I could hear it. It sounds more like a New York style than it would be a VA style. The beats is like you have like hard, gritty beats, and then like your voice on the beats itself, it's like a perfect fit for the beats that you were rapping on. So how important is it for you when selecting beats to fit your music style? Because to be honest with you, you have a distinct voice that would fit certain beats better than they will fit others. So what is the selection process for you when it comes to finding beats?
So I stick around 87, 88 BPMs, right? Mm-hmm. But in the same sense, all my music gets played from here up north. I've never had a record played because I'm 6 hours away from New York, but I'm 6 hours away from Charlotte in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Literally
10 hours
right
away I'm 10 hours away from Georgia. So I'm closer to New York and Philly and DC. But as far as me, like I grew up listening to Mobb Deep, and once I got older and, Rakim. So like I said, it was more of our neighborhood. And then we had Wu-Tang had family members in our neighborhood. So Norfolk kind of always been, that ear for that type of music. You know what I'm saying? And but my beats come from France. I get my beats from Vince Vega.
Okay.
So if you hit me on like the 2 I did the other day, they were YouTube beats because I just did an album. So I try to stay consistent. So I'll grab something that might, if you listen to those 2, they got kind of a down south beat to them. You know what I'm saying? So I was just experimenting with those 2 beats because Shane came up with an idea, and I was like, oh, I can rock on that. But most of my beats, I get my beats from Philly, France, New York, mostly up north. So I kind of stick around 87 BPMs. I just feel comfortable because I'm a storyteller. So I need that music to be able to match what I'm putting out,
So to people who don't really know the concept of music, can you explain to them what 87 BPMs are?
It's going to be story. I call it storytelling, gory. So the beat is okay. We'll say 87 BPMs. Maybe Rakim, Mahogany, right? That slow pitch. And then you get into 180, 150, things of that nature, which is maybe a fast Busta Rhymes record or something like that. So I like to hang around the slow pace, the slow pitch, the lower vibe, the lower instrumentals, so I can tell the story. You know what I mean? So it's just a slower pitch beat. That's all.
Oh, okay. So what would you think was the first song that you ever did, and compare that first song you ever did to the most recent song you did, and explain how much you've grown in between those 2 songs?
So the first record I did was it was a record called Overkill. But in that same sequence, I did a mixtape and I did another record called Flash and Pizzazz. So when I did those records, I had just started rapping. About 2 months later, I was on Shade 45. Never did a record before in my life. So I would say, compared to now, I know how to write bars. I wasn't writing bars. I was just writing paragraphs and reading and Hard Money and Unique. They were like, man, you gotta. So I just learned how to do bars, man, maybe like almost a year ago. You know what I'm saying? I was making it fit from the time it started until the hook, which is not a format when you're making a record. So big shout out to those dudes that showed me how to write hooks. So I would say I kind of graduated now. I'm more comfortable. I know how to let the beat people hear the beat as opposed to me just going in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm more comfortable now. Got a little more confidence, you know.
Okay, definitely. So what is the difference between, I'm glad that you said that because I think a lot of people don't understand the concept either. So what is the difference between just writing a paragraph of music and then but writing bars?
Writing a paragraph is cool, but most people send a beat format and it's formatted for 16 bars
Mm-hmm.
because that's how you write music. I didn't know it at the time, but as writing paragraphs, I used to not be able to put a hook in the record, so I was doing it all wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was kind of freestyling, and I still do it. I'll still freestyle and do some records without putting the hook. I just call that a freestyle for the mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
But now I learned, so now I can actually write records because I'm more concerned about making a song than doing a whole lot of talking and shit like that. You know, if that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is hip hop to you? What has hip hop given you? What has hip hop taught you?
Definitely gave me a plan to be able to open my mind to the fullest extent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I only been rapping for 3 years.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I don't even listen to rap music. You know what I'm saying? But because I got turned off, you know what I mean? Just like everybody else, when you get older, you get turned off. I got turned off, but it kind of now it's like it gave me something. Now I know what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, because I was professional, I was known for boxing.
Oh, okay.
So once I retired that, I was like, well, I need something else to do. You know, something to keep me staying young. You know what I mean? So to say. So that's when I went in and picked up the mic and just started, you know, having fun with that. And I'm still having fun with it to this day.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So let's go back now, since you mentioned that, the boxing aspect of your life. How did you get into boxing and what made you in boxing and then get into music?
I started boxing late. I started boxing like 2008.
Okay.
And I ended up getting a pro license like 2013 or something. Right. And I had some fights up until 2016. And I'm like, okay, this. When you get older, you know it's not going. You know your body is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was just like I said, me just always wanting something on the side to just keep me focused on not doing the crazy things that I did, you know, when I was out in the streets. And you know, I was going to jail a lot. And I was like, you know, let me find something. And so I like to find things to keep my mind off of, you know. When you got kids, you got to figure out something else to keep yourself going.
Yeah. Kids change your whole outlook on life, perspective. Kind of makes you realize like there's bigger things than the streets. Honestly, well, for some people, you being one of those people, a lot of people kind of don't really fall into that category, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
right.
So, what was the biggest thing you learned once you had kids? Like, was that for you the awakening where it was like, yo, I like life got to be better than this?
Well, you know, with my first one, I was so young. I was still young. I still was there. I've always been there. I've always been there. But, you know, I was kind of reckless. I wasn't in my mind like, you know, and I got shot 3 years ago, right? So I wasn't thinking in my mind like, I got to make it home to this child. You know what I mean? Like I'm out here running reckless. What if something happens to me? What's she going to do? You know what I mean? And then I just wised up and I was like, you know what? I got caught a bullet in 23 and that was not me being in the streets. It was just me in the wrong place at the wrong time. So that's when I actually went to the studio because I had stopped boxing. I had too much free time.
Yeah.
So that's when I picked up the mic and actually went in, you know, and started doing my thing.
So when was the first time that you realized that you had a gift with the music?
Like I said, I was only in 3 months and I got on Shade 45, you know what I'm saying? And that's a big platform for somebody that just stepped in the booth about 3 months ago. You know what I mean? And I realized that once I started sending music to the DJs and I started realizing I was getting on more and more mixtapes, I was starting to be on like 5 mixtapes a week. And I was like, man, this ain't too bad. You know, I'm taking my old stories and I'm bringing them into real time. And that's what I do. So yeah, it was probably about 3 months in, once that Shade 45 hit. So I'm about to have some fun. You know what I mean? I'm about to just put some time into this, and that's what I did.
That's what's up. How much has your past helped influence your music?
If it wasn't for my past, I wouldn't be able to make one record. You know what I mean? I mean, in the streets all my life, and I got a lot of stories I can tell. You know what I'm saying? And it's, I bring it into real time because, you know, people say, hey, you this and you ain't teaching. And I'm like, nah, my kids in the house, I teach my own kids. That's, you know, you teach your kids, I teach mine. But the thing about it is nobody wants to hear the drunk uncle at the barbecue just rambling on, right? So I have to make things exciting for people to want to listen to the record. You know what I mean? So I try to figure out ways to bring those old stories into real time. You know what I'm saying?
What was the first song that you did that caught the mainstream attention?
Man, I'm gonna say, man, that's a good question, man. Oh man, I can't. I probably got 200 records. I'm gonna just say I did a show in Queens, and I did a record that was called My Repertoire. And after I did that show in Queensbridge, that pretty much sealed the cake because all the DJs got hold of that record. You know what I'm saying? And that was pretty much, that was a highlight for me. You know what I mean? As far as the records that I had made, because I actually wrote it the way it was supposed to be written. So I was able to perform it the way it's supposed to be performed. You know what I mean?
All right. So hey, you actually gave me a reason to ask this question too. It was going to be my next question, and you kind of walk right into it. So what do you prefer, writing the record or performing the record?
Writing. Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, if I go do a show, I'm cool. I do what I do, and then I'm gone. I ain't hanging around the club or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, by me having an incident, now I know life is precious, and I got kids I got to get home to. So, for me, just being in the booth is a highlight for me. I'm grateful for just that. You know what I mean? If the show come, I'll do the show. But I really like being in the booth, man. I like creating the music. You know what I'm saying?
How therapeutic is music for you?
It's definitely, anytime you can get things off your chest, good or bad, I think it clears your mind and opens up a space for you to allow good things to come in. Because if you listen to my records, it's drastic, it's harsh, it's cold. I talk a lot of trash, but I'm entitled to talk trash. I lived a long time. I can talk trash, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm just popping my stuff off. But it's really for me to just write and hey, bro, I was in the studio with a notebook paper, right? And the young one was like, Unc, you got to put it on the phone. And I was like, I can't see that. But then I got used to putting it on the phone. You know what I mean? It's amazing how young guys will walk in the studio and they'll hear me in the booth. And they like, who's that in the booth? They're like, oh, that's Unc in there doing that. Yeah, but we always have a conversation. And I say, I'm just talking, you know, telling some stories. And y'all need to learn how to separate music from what you're doing out there, you know?
Do you think your voice, your sound distinguishes you from other rappers?
Definitely. Definitely. When you hear the record, you know it's me. You know what I'm saying? And I know other guys may have, you know, distinct different voices and things of that nature, but it's just, I might leave little trademarks in my, you know, I say some things over and over in the record, or I don't say my name a lot on the records. I may mention it 1 or 2 times. But yeah, the voice is definitely key because I hated it at first. It made me not want to go back. When I heard it, I didn't want to go back. But then when other people heard it, I said, oh, so it's a separation now. I can, you know what I mean? I can hop in my own lane because if you listen how I rhyme, I don't do the talk rhyme. You know, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's popular now to just talk on the record, right?
Yeah. It's like spin poetry on a record.
I flow with the beat. You know what I mean? I keep the old school vibe and get a lot of good feedback from it.
Yeah. So your voice, it's crazy because you're the one thing that you hated the most seems to be that everybody else gravitated to. And then at that point, now as I'm saying, at that point now you can use that. That's your greatest asset. That's your biggest strength.
I wish I had $1 for every time the phone rings and somebody say, "Oh, you really sound like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my voice." You know what I'm saying? Of course, in the studio, I got to project more, but yeah.
That was just the same thing too. Because when I first actually, like when we just started talking, now I was like, "Oh, okay, that really is his voice." So I was like, "I get it." I was like, "All right, cool." It's like, so it's one thing. See, that alone right there separates you from a lot of artists in the industry because your voice, you don't sound like everybody else. And then like the beats that you pick and the music that you write and you flow to separates you from everybody else. And another big thing that separates you is that you don't really like glorify your past, but you live the life that you actually speak in your music.
Yeah. And it is, hey, everybody that knows me know, you know, of course we all beef up some things, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's easy for me because I'm just stating the facts of if I wasn't there, I saw it. If I didn't do it, my brother, my homie did it. I was in the car with somebody. You know what I'm saying? And we talking about early 80s when that stuff came, you know what I'm saying? So bro, I've been here, you know what I mean? And people don't really know my age and I don't tell them, you know what I mean? I just feel like you decide what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of it though. Don't get me wrong. But I just feel like if you listen to my music and I know you heard some things and you like, yeah, he's been around for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Is there some things in your music that you won't say from your past? Like if you sit down and you be like, yo, I'm gonna write to this, and then you be like, nah, this one might be a little too deep. I don't really want to put this on the record.
No, I'm gonna say everything. You only live one time, and you know, once you pass that your limitations, I can say whatever I want to say. You know what I mean? I just feel like I won't mention names. I'm not name dropping. You know, if I do, it's positive, like my homie or my brother. But as far as like the things I talk about, I won't name drop. You know what I mean? But I'll say whatever I want to say. You know what I mean? Because if I did something different, it wouldn't be me, you know?
So what if you had to put yourself and your flow and your style in any era of hip hop, what era would that be in?
I'm gonna definitely say the 90s, man. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely say that Mobb Deep, that and Rakim is a big influence on me because that's why I got the flow, the melody with the beat thing. And so I'm gonna definitely say the 90s, Capone and Noriega, Mobb Deep, Big Twins. You know what I mean? All those guys that kind of made that lane for you to, you know, be able to come in and do what you had to do. Cause like I said, I didn't really listen to a lot of rap music. When I got in the car with somebody, I don't listen to the radio in the car. So if I got a show, I got to learn the words quick because I might hear it when I leave the studio and then I don't really listen to it no more after that, you know?
How often do you record? Like, meaning like if you go in the booth and you spit in what you need to spit, on an average, how many takes do you think it would take before you actually got the song completed? Oh,
it's one. I'm prepared because I'm looking at the phone.
Okay.
Or I'm looking at the iPad. I'm not one of those guys that can go in and just You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or remember, I do like 2 records a week. So I'm writing things down. It's one take for me because I go over it so many times before I go. I make the most out of that hour. You know what I mean? And I'm ready. So
how does making music, and based on everything you said, like a lot of your music is from your past, how would your music be able to tell someone younger, like, how does your music help influence them to not do what you did?
it's tough love. You know what I mean? It's tough love. And I feel like a person is going to get what they want to get out of music. Like, music is so negative and so, like, it's hard to I'm not even going to sit here and say, oh, I got a bunch of positive messages.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just stating the facts of this, what happens when you do this. I'm telling it like that. You know what I mean? Well, I'm saying I did this and this is what happened. So that's about all the message you'll get out of mine. You know what I mean? And that's what goes back to with me and my kids. My kids are not allowed to listen to nothing I make. You know what I'm saying? I got a daughter, my little 9-year-old. You like this beat? She's like, yeah, Dad. That's all it is. So, you know, I got to take care of mine. You take care of yours, because I'm not responsible for yours. You know, it's hard enough being a black man just taking care of your own kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's
so
a fact.
I just hope that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When I look at the stats, my age group is about 35 and up. You know what I'm saying? And at 35, you should know better. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So how do you balance making music and balance home and family life?
I definitely separate the two, because everybody at home, you know, I'm this dad. You know what I mean? And you know, when I go out, I'm lefty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I go in the booth, that's lefty. That's the old lefty from Lambert's Point, from Norfolk, that ran the streets. When I come home, it's the new dad that loves his kids and wants to be home and wants to make breakfast and, you know, play with my son and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for me to do that, man. I leave that where it is, you know, because it's just music for me. That's all it is. Yeah.
At the beginning, how hard was it to turn Lefty off?
It wasn't. He was already turned off. Because, like I said, when I got shot, it was like, man, and it was crazy because, like I said, I had left all that behind. I was just in the convenience store and some youngins got into it and I walked through the middle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then I started retaliating because I didn't know who it was, but I left Lefty was long gone until I get in that studio and I can remember everything that led me up to God still having me here today. You know what I'm saying? So it's not hard, man. It's just music for me. That's all it is. Not walking around, you know, like I said, I can go to Queensbridge with just me and my brother going in the club and they comping drinks because I'm a quiet guy. I mind my business, but it's music for me. Anything outside of that, I don't want to be bothered with it. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Yeah.
Music has given you so much, and you have given music so much back. What do you still hope to accomplish while still making music, while still being on this earth, while still being a father, while still just being a black man, while still just being a person, period?
You know what, man? I want to make sure my kids understand that you can do anything you want to do. It's never too late. And also, I want them to respect people. I want them to understand that life is short. You can have fun, but, you know, don't run out here and kill yourself and act crazy. And that's what it is. You know, we pray a lot, bro. I stay prayed up, bro, because I supposed to have been gone a couple years ago. You know what I mean? So I don't take nothing for granted. And, you know, I just want to leave here and make sure my kids are straight. My kids, hey, bro, I've been straight because I fund everything myself. Videos, music, promotion. I pay for all my, you know, and I had a couple deals, had a couple distributions, but I'm just not willing to just give all my stuff away to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It won't make me happy. I want to be happy. Money is not going to make me happy because I don't need nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, too, having your own stuff and be able to own your own stuff sets your kids up for future wealth too. It's generational wealth that way.
Yeah, because I make a lot of money off features, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I make so much money off features that I'm like, well, shit, my records, I put them out. You know what I mean? But I get paid. And then I got a couple sync placements,
mm-hmm.
you know, from last year that they pay extra good. But I'm really in it. I'm just having fun, man. Whatever comes my way, monetary, I'll take it. But like I said, I still take care of my house regardless, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, actually, I want to thank you for this interview, man. This interview has been great. I appreciate your time. One, you got one question I want to ask you before I let everybody know where they can find you musically and stuff. But the one question I usually ask everybody before I close out is, you know, with you having the career you had so far, still making music, the trials and tribulations you had in your life, what would you, as yourself now, what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, listen to grandma. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing that I didn't do. Had I listened to grandma, but I'm a firm believer that everything you go through in life it's either going to lead you one or two ways. It's going to lead you in a bad way or a good way, or it's going to bless you enough to be able to fix it. You know what I'm saying? And I think all of those stepping stones led me to where I am now. I would not have stories to tell. If I would listen to grandma, I wouldn't have nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And no telling, but I just think that, you know, stand firm. And I think everything is a stepping stone. And I think what's meant to happen is going to happen. We don't control nothing. You know what I mean? We got free reign, and that's it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Let everybody know where they can find your music.
I pulled everything. I just got a United Masters. I just did my first album, and United Masters is going to put it out.
Congratulations.
They still mastering records, so with them it takes a minute. You know, mm-hmm. Shout out Vince Vega. Vince Vega produced the whole record from France, and if it wasn't for Vega, man, you know, he's sending the packs. But
mm-hmm.
And Cigar Talk, you know.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Cigar Talk.
Yeah, Morning Star, Unique, my brother. But I just pulled everything, and I'm starting fresh. So my first album, it'll be on United Masters to put it out. But in between that, I drop about two mixtape records a week. So I'm got a bunch of DJ friends, Amsterdam, Mikey G, hey, bro, DJ Glibs. I mean, I got a bunch of guys that play me in the meantime. So once my record drops, we'll post it up. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, once again, man, thank you, Lefty. I appreciate you taking the time out to let me interview you, man. It meant a lot. I'm glad we was able to get it done. And we'll have more to come, actually. I want to interview you again once the album comes out. Talk about that.
Yeah, that'll be beautiful, man. And I want to say, man, I did a lot of interviews, man. Hey, I like your style. You got good questions, you know what I mean? And I just appreciate you, you know, talking, man. I like building, and I just appreciate you for that.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. And I look forward to building more with you in the future. Also, once again, shout out to Shane, Cigar Talk Toronto podcast. Make sure you guys go check that out.
No doubt.
That's a real cool podcast, real good dude. And shout out to you, Lefty, man. Thanks for sharing your story on this podcast, man. And thanks for, matter of fact, I want you, before we leave, please tell these youngins out here, if you could give these youngins one bit of advice, what would you give them?
Realize that you still have to wake up the next morning, and we all got to answer to somebody. It's cool to be cool, but remember, we all got to answer to somebody. You know, people don't think about that. When we leave here, you're going to have to answer for everything you did. So, you know, be mindful how you treat people. Treat people good, because karma is a bitch.
Yeah. And I couldn't have said it any better myself, man. Once again, man, thank you for the interview, man, and I appreciate it.
We're gonna chop soon, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Take care.
All right, bet, brother.
All right.